This podcast contains some magical adult language. Listener discretion is advised. And sorry, Mom.
I'm going to Disney World. I'm going to...
Whoa. You're not Mickey Mouse, you're a rat.
Rats, man. Besides, they're tourists. What do they know?
Welcome to Rat Castle, a progressive chat about the Disney magic without the pixie dust. I am your Count Nathan Hartman, and with me today, I'm not doing a very good Dracula voice.
I was not expecting that.
I'm not sure it was a very good Dracula voice. It sounded
I wasn't
more
mad
like,
at it.
It was good.
down here, I got to. I sort of turned into Rocky, and I don't mean to, but yo, Adrian, give me your blood. All right, let's see. I am, as I said, Count Nathan Hartman, and with me today on the spooky Halloween special are Victoria. Hello, Victoria.
Why do you sound like the guy from Hotel Transylvania?
That's
Oh
a
my.
that's
Isn't
a
that
Dracula? That's a
Dracula?
Dracula. So
Yeah.
we're
Yeah,
good.
that's allowed.
No, I mean the act. No, the voice
Adam
actor,
Sandler?
Like, yeah. That's what
I sound like Adam Sandler, but not as Dracula. I sound
I
like
was saying. It's a compliment. It was a compliment.
it was a compliment. It's a weird compliment, but I'll take it.
Sorry.
You sound like Adam Sandler, but not in Hotel Transylvania. You sound like him in Billy Madison.
And the next person up here is
Oh my god, that's good.
Sarah. Oh, Sarah. Hi, Sarah.
Hi. This is very I want to use the word disturbing. that it's so
That's
good.
my Adam Sandler. But Adam Sandler goes from this and he goes a little bit like this sometimes. Janine is here too.
God help us all.
Janine.
So Janine's here.
Yeah, I'm here.
And the Dave, he's dead. No, Dave is not dead. He is spooking around and doing creepy things elsewhere tonight. He could not make it. Scary. Instead, we have the great special guest, Tremaine, talk of TikTok herself. It's Jessica Tremmel. Hello. How are you?
Thank you for having me. If I was gonna replace anybody temporarily for one episode, it would be Dave.
Well, you're from, as we've said on this podcast before, you're from the same area.
Yeah, which is, I am not a replacement, but I will do my best to be the Dave of this group.
Okay.
There's some big
count it.
shoes.
I'll do my best Dave impression.
Okay.
No,
I don't even know what
Apparently impressions night. So
Yeah, it's an
I know,
impressions
right?
night.
If we're doing voices, I wish you would have told me. I would have warmed up, done something.
I didn't even know I could do a good Adam Sandler until I just did it. It's been years, folks. I didn't pull out like like a new Sandler. That's old school. That's Cajun boy. Okay. Today is of course the spooky Halloween episode that you were not expecting in your feed, but it's here to spook you. And we are going to start tonight with some spooky stories. Gather around the campfire because we have some spooky theme park stories that are real. We didn't make these up. These are real stories that have gone all around and I don't know why, and now I'm just doing a French accent. And this is a
We
French.
gotta let the impressions go.
Hello. This is a spooky French podcast for spooky fire stories. Oh, man. Okay, so we're gonna tell some spooky stories, and I guess I'll be the first to tell my spooky story. And this is, as we said, these are all true spooky stories. I will begin mine. This is at Disneyland. It's very hard to drop the vampire voice when you start doing it. It's very fun. So this,
I was ready for it.
I know, right?
Yeah, it was pretty
You
good.
take that back right now.
I'm gonna take
So
you.
let it go.
I'm gonna take you back to the scary time, one of the scariest times of all the ages, the Dark Ages, 1984. Thunder Crash.
Damn,
Thunder
not the
Crash,
dark
Thunder Crash.
ages.
Yeah.
I wasn't even alive yet.
So,
Same.
were any of us? I don't think any of us were. Anybody alive in 84? No?
If only Dave were here.
A time before existence.
Where I can't fill his shoes.
Yeah. That's true. So anyway, we're in 1984. We are at Disneyland. We are at the Matterhorn. And a California woman named Regina, known as Dolly Young, was killed on the Matterhorn after falling from her bobsled car. She was riding, and she fell off her bobsled car after a kind of a dip, and she landed on the track, and then she was struck by an oncoming sled and died. The tragic accident, of course, was happened, Dolly's family believes, because the woman's seatbelt had not been properly fastened, and they did the spooky thing of settling with the park, and so they got money for that. But here's the thing: since Dolly's death, the style of seatbelts on the Matterhorn has been changed, so don't worry, you're gonna be okay. But there is still workers at the Matterhorn over the years that believe that they have heard Dolly or felt Dolly or seen Dolly at her spot where she fell off, which is now known as Dolly's Dip. So Dolly's Dip on the Matterhorn. Let's see here. There's a quote, and it says, "Some people say they have seen Dolly." This is from a cast member. "I worked on that ride for several years, and I never saw her, but I sure did feel her. After the ride closes for the day, two people have to walk the track, one on each side of the mountain. You have to walk the ride, starting from the bottom and working your way all the way to the top, and it is done to look for lost and found items. But every time I was, unlucky enough to get a track walking shift, and I had to go past Dolly's Dip, I always had this uneasy feeling. I was always convinced that Dolly was there, and I would often say hi to her at her dip. The feeling was always the worst in the big cavern in the middle of the ride, and of course at Dolly's Dip. And in fact, the work lights in the tunnel near Dolly's Dip always seemed to be burnt out. So in 6 years, I don't think I ever saw those lights working," he says. "I hated running the track at the end of my shift, and I usually try to get someone else to do it." So now you know the tale of Dolly's Dip.
Well,
Damn.
shout out to Dolly for changing
Did
those
not know
seatbelts.
that. Wow.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Disney maintains that it's completely unrelated, just legally speaking.
Yeah.
Because I just went on the Matterhorn and it's bumpy. Like I could definitely see how someone could like fly off of that.
Yes.
She is not the only person to have been killed by the Matterhorn, by
No.
the way.
No.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
That
What?
mountain has taken people.
Someone died, I think, in like when it first opened as well, like a teenager, but I think it's because he stood up on it.
Oh, I heard
Yeah.
about that one. Yeah.
Which
No.
He had it
well,
coming.
apparently
So-
he had it coming, she says.
He only had himself.
Well, it's just not
to
as
blame.
tragic as like the woman who's there with her family and she just,
Right.
Gets
Yeah.
decapitated by
Right.
the bobsled versus guy who's a punk and stands up, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
what
All
did you think was
punks
going to happen?
All punks
Why
should
would you
die.
even
That's
stand
what
up
we
on
put
that
there.
ride? It's so rough.
Right?
I don't know. You're surfing it. Surfing the Matterhorn, as it were.
I mean,
Don't
I
do
wouldn't
that.
be swag surfing the Matterhorn of all the rides.
No. Nope. I saved that for Space Mountain. So everyone can see me, I guess. Anyway, we're moving on from my spooky story, and I'm going to pass the spooky story stick here at the campfire over to Victoria. Tell us about your spooky Halloween theme park story, Victoria.
I'm going to be talking about the Lake Shawnee amusement park, and it is a ride, so get ready. So it is located in Princeton, West Virginia, and it's been on a lot of TV shows. The most recent being the one I just watched, Jack Osborne's Portals to Hell, and it's been on Travel Channel's Most Terrifying Places on Earth. So let us travel to 19. Why did I not space my notes? My bad. I did not space these. My bad. Okay, so we're off to a great start. So the land that this amusement park used to be on was purchased by someone named C.T. Snitto. And he bought it with the sole purpose of making a leisure park for the people of the county in the residing area, because most of the area is like coal miner families from that time. So it featured a Ferris wheel, a swimming pool, a dance hall, a racetrack, like anything you can think of pretty much. And it even had cabins for overnight stays. Now, it opened. Did I not write down when it opened?
1926.
1926. Thank you. I must not have wrote it. But it opened in 1926. But unfortunately, there were 6 deaths between the time that it opened and the time that it closed. And it's opened about 3 times. So what happened was there was a little girl on one of the swing rides. And unfortunately, she got hit by a car somehow.
Wait, what? Wait.
Yes.
Wait, what?
Yes.
She's on a swing ride, but got hit by a car.
So according to what I read, she was on the swing ride. The swing ride hadn't started yet, and I guess something backed up. The car or the truck or something backed up and hit her.
Okay.
I don't know why there was a car there. I don't know why it was there, but hit her, and she unfortunately passed.
Okay.
So the swing that she was on is memorialized with a red ribbon. And it said, and on the show that I watched, it did show it that sometimes it swings on its own.
Oh.
Sketch.
It swings on its own.
Oh,
and there's
swings
no
that
wind.
swing in the wind.
Well, I didn't get to the good part.
I'm
yet.
waiting.
It's getting there. It's getting there. So it closed in 1967 because of a failed health inspection. Never opened back up until 1985 when a former employee purchased the land and opened it again in 1987. But it got closed again. Does anyone want to guess why it got closed again?
Was it another health inspection?
Nope.
A child died.
You're
Again.
close.
Ooh, an adult
very
An
died.
adult.
No, Janine's the closest.
A
Was
baby?
it
So,
Children?
a baby?
so what happened was they were digging to add a new ride.
Oh, no.
And they hit something. So they found Native American artifacts
Oh.
and 13 skeletons, mostly young children, that predated the arrival of the Anglo-European settlers.
Oh, wow.
What?
And before this, there was a massacre here where more children died.
Boy.
You know, as a
So,
progressive
yeah.
podcast, I have to note that I'm actually pro ghost in this story, I think. Like,
If there were ever a time to root for the ghost.
you know,
Right?
It would be now. So I'm not going to
That's
get
when
into
you-
the massacre because it's rough.
we
So
would
I'm not
hate to
gonna
have
get-
a bummer at Halloween.
That's when you just say burn it down. Just start
Yeah.
over.
Literally.
Just walk away.
We
Burn
did
the
a
whole
big
place down.
whoopsie.
Yeah, so it hasn't been open since, but it is very haunted with, unfortunately, the ghosts of small children, including a boy who drowned in the pool that was at the amusement park. So this park is crazy. So the little boy is said to wander around the front of the park, even though the pool was in the back of the park. And most of the spirits here are friendly. They mainly just want to interact and play with you, which is why usually they bring toys and such. But otherwise, yeah, there's been some very interesting encounters by ghost hunters there. Some things move on their own, even though there's no wind. Some people have been touched. Some people have seen the little girl and the little boy in the front near a pinwheel. And if you ask him to move the pinwheel, it'll spin on its own very quickly.
Ugh.
So, yeah. And they do tours.
I'm assuming they don't do tours. I'm assuming somebody
Ghosts
else.
do not do tours. They
Okay.
help. They should be compensated. But
I don't even know if the amusement park does the
How
tours.
do you compensate a ghost?
That's a great question.
Do you like talk to them? And you just like bargain?
You like, is there any music you wanna play?
I mean,
Yeah, I
sometimes
guess.
they interact in music. I've only done a ghost tour once.
You put on a
so-
movie for them. They can't.
I just
can't
find
put
it very
things on.
sketch that they all of a sudden happen to come across these artifacts. Like, why were they not found the first time when they were excavating for the park?
Maybe
Well,
they-
it wasn't. it wasn't excavated because, and I forgot, I didn't do it in order. So the first thing that happened there, well, now I'm gonna have to talk about, is the massacre. And the massacre happened was there was settlers there, a family of settlers, not like the whole thing. And Native Americans came because that was their land, and shit went down.
Yeah.
Did a kill.
Yeah.
Did a murder.
So it was a lot.
Did a little murder on the prairie, as it were.
So that was murder on the prairie, please. But yeah, that was technically their land. So
Interesting.
I believe that's why the artifacts were there.
Whoa.
And they are currently in a museum, I believe I read. But of course they shouldn't be there. But you know, here we are.
True.
So the park is like closed forever?
Oh, it's closed, but the
Except for
county
the ghost tours.
Yeah, I think the county does the ghost tours.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Like when I looked it up, they had it advertised on their county website, and I was like, okay.
Now here's the thing, Victoria. This is a spooky story you're telling, and lightning is going to go off after you finish your story. So I'm gonna need you
I'm done.
to make the spooky story end by saying the county does the tours, but do it like you're ending a spooky story.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready.
No, you just go ahead. I'm leaving all this in.
Oh, and the spookiest part of all of this is that Mercer County, West Virginia, does in fact do ghost tours. So if you want to visit these ghosts, you are more than welcome to for a fee.
And we know there's nothing much to do in West Virginia.
Oh, no, not West Virginia.
Not West Virginia. There won't be any West Virginia slander here.
Ooh.
All 5 of them will come after you, Sarah.
I know. Well, good thing I'm never going to be in West Virginia. No, thank you.
No, Mountain Mama, take me home, country roads. Okay.
My brother is going to college there, so he can listen to this and be offended.
Sure.
I'm so sorry.
Please-
I'm so
please be
sorry,
offended.
Jessica's
Sorry.
brother.
Me too.
So next up on Are You Afraid of the Park? Hey-oh.
Oh, that was good.
is our good guest, our ghostly guest, our
Ghastly guest?
ghastly guest.
Ooh,
Not
our
I'm into it.
Ghoulie? Is that a term? Ghoulie?
Ghoulie? I think ghoulie is a term.
Ghoulie
I would
guest.
say so, yeah.
I will take
Um,
all of the above titles.
Okay, cool. Jessica, tell us about your spooky story.
So this is one, I picked this one in particular because I've actually had an interaction with this spirit.
Wait,
and
this is
there
a personal spooky story.
Well, I'm going to tell the basis of the story,
Okay.
and then I'm going to tell you the interaction that I had around it.
Okay.
So this is a very well-known story among cast members. Now, the origin of this story is a little bit muddy. Some people say that George of the Pirates of the Caribbean ride was a construction worker who worked on the original ride. Some people say that it is a guest. Some people say it's a former cast member. Some people say it's just a spirit. It really depends on who you ask. But at the end of the day, his name is George, and that stays consistent among everybody, no matter who you ask. And he is a very mischievous spirit that haunts the Pirates of the Caribbean ride in Walt Disney World specifically. He is said to mess with the ride and ride operations if certain things aren't met or if he is displeased. The first is that cast members are to greet him and say goodnight in the morning and evening as they open and close the ride. I do know cast members who have done this. It is not a rule that they are taught in training necessarily, but it is a custom for cast members to do this. To say good morning, George, and good evening, George, or farewell, or what have you. If they don't do this, it is known that the ride, if they don't say good morning, it is known that the ride has been known to break down throughout the entire day or have trouble running. Animatronics will stop. There will be problems pretty much all day. So cast members oblige and say good morning to George. As far as George is concerned, there have been backstage doors that have been opened that don't really have a good access point for anybody to open them. namely the door in particular. If you think about that first village scene on Pirates of the Caribbean after the ship, the woman opens the window doors as the man is being drowned in the well.
And don't be cheeking.
Exactly. I was going to let you say it. Perfect. There is a door caddy corner behind her, and it is supposed to remain closed at all times for safety reasons. There is no reason for that door to be open. There have been multiple situations where that door has been inexplicably open, and they never found out who that anybody opened it. It's been seen by guests that it's been opened because you can see that door directly behind her. It is painted to blend in with the wall, so you notice it. It's straight black behind it if it's open. So that is a very known area for George to mess around with. He has been known to mess particularly with female guests sometimes.
A pervert.
George sounds like a bitch. Like, he sounds like a jerk.
George is a diva. He's something. But essentially, it has also come to pass that he will switch off lights in the ride while people are riding it, which is fun for them.
Okay.
You know, but there have been 2 run-ins that I've had with George in Pirates of the Caribbean, and this has to do with how guests treat George. If you go in knowing about George and you disrespect him, he is known to cause problems. The first happened, I was in my Disney College program, and there was a girl that was on my program with me, also in entertainment, and we were going on the ride, and we're coming through that very scene with the woman with the window, and she shouts at the top of her lungs, "I don't believe in George," on purpose. And literally less than 10 seconds later, the entire thing comes to a screeching halt, and we are stuck there for a good 10 to 15 minutes while they essentially restart the ride. It's like almost like an e-stop situation. They did not evac the ride, but they did do a hard stop. Then there's another situation very similar, not so much that they said they didn't believe in George. I was riding the ride with my now ex-husband, and I was telling him that story, and he's like, "That doesn't make any sense. I don't think that's real," like kind of just being very skeptical about it. We get on the ride and we get past that scene a little further in, and I want to say it was during the bride auction when it was still there, and immediately the ride stopped, but this time the boat in front of us had come off the tracks and was tilted. Yes, and was tilted. So the cast members had to come in waiters and put it back on the track so that we could continue through with the ride. So that is the story of George of Pirates of the Caribbean and my 2 interactions with George.
George just said, "If you don't believe me, I'm going to show you."
But he has
Correct.
bad
I'll
aim.
show you every
George
time.
is the epitome of fuck around and find out. That's
Literally.
Is yeah, if you don't believe in him and you vocalize that fact, he will come after you. He will come after you and show you that he is real.
He sounds like a jerk. Like, he's like, "I'm going to make you have a bad
Sarah,
day."
I know you're in the other coast, but if you ever come down here, I'm probably going to
George
end
is
up
gonna
writing it
come
with
after me.
you, and you're going to get me killed.
I mean,
I can't go to
Does
West
George
Virginia.
listen to the podcast, you think?
I
feel like
you know
George is
what?
everywhere.
He might. I mean, Nathan, have you ever heard of George?
I had heard of George because I am a avid nerd, but I have I've never spoken his name in the ride because I honestly don't believe in any spiritual stuff really in that sense. But I do there. It kind of freaks me out a little bit. I think it's because I don't want to sink. And it's like, well, I don't need the afterlife to come after me as well. Like, life's tough. I got loans and stuff. I don't
For
really need
those
the
of you
afterlife.
listening, Nathan was nodding his head yes when I talked about the boat coming off the track. Yeah, that absolutely happened. We were very confused, The boat did not take on water, I will say that. It was not tilted enough to do that, but it was fun to watch cast members get in the water with waders on to fix it.
Like, I know it's not like this, but you just think about, like, you just assume if you put your hand in the water or your legs in the water, immediately gears will rip your flesh from your bones.
That's
like,
fair.
it's not the case on that ride, really. Like, it's not.
It's really not.
But there's just something about machines in water where you're like, no.
How deep is that water? Because if a cast member can like come and stand on it, it's not that deep,
It was
right?
like what, 3 feet, I think?
Yeah.
Maybe. I wouldn't even say it's that deep. I would say knee deep on your average person, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I
that's
just
the
wouldn't want to
whole
touch
ride.
the water. The way that water smells.
Oh,
I don't
well,
know.
I wouldn't touch the water, but also the danger with putting limbs in the water aside from the machinery is it comes very close to the sides.
Yeah.
That is really the biggest danger is like your hand getting caught in between the boat and like the attraction.
It's like a weirdly common theme park injury.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you lose
It
your
really
hand,
is.
it's the parks, and they'll put it in the Pirates of the Caribbean. So be careful.
And then you'll just be the next George.
Yeah. And George will
I
not
just
like
want to know
that.
how George ended up there. Like, if he was
A lot of people say
construction
he
worker.
is a construction worker who died during the building of the ride, but there's really no concrete evidence to say that that's true. There's no record of anybody dying, but then again, it was, the 60s or whenever, the 70s, whenever they were building the attraction.
Yeah.
And and so I don't know if they would have all of that available now.
Because if he was a guest, my guess would be that someone came and like sprinkled his ashes. Because you know how people do that.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Yeah, for
sprinkle the
some
ashes.
reason, that's the thing to do.
Yeah.
Like, dang, my loved one died. Let me put them in a theme park.
Yeah. I know at least one person that has done that.
No way.
Oh yeah, the people get caught doing it all the time.
Yeah.
I know it happens in Haunted Mansion a lot, but I didn't think it would happen on the other rides.
Oh, it happens on the beaches, like at the resorts. It happens everywhere.
Right. I mean, it's not a spooky story, but if you know the tale of Hoot and Chief, which is of course urban exploring horizons. Chief passed away a couple years ago, and Hoot filmed himself dumping the ashes at the Magic Kingdom. So, which is exactly what an urban explorer for Disney probably would want. So it's actually kind of a heartwarming story.
Well, if there was, I have a question for you guys.
Sure.
If there was a ride that you can get sprinkled on, what would it be?
Interesting.
Spaceship Earth.
Tower of Terror.
Oh, that's a nice. Oh, okay. Tower of Terror is nice too. Like as
People
they're
mover.
I just feel like Janine would be in the bag, and then like the person carrying her, she'd be like, whee! She'd just like fly over the entire cabin.
So-
like that's how it would go.
So Jessica, you're all the dust that's on the town of tomorrow or the city of progress or whatever it's called.
I will be.
Yeah. I mean, it's I won't notice the difference because
No, you won't. No, but seriously, like I have an unhealthy love for that ride.
it's a good ride. It's a good ride.
I used to take naps there on my lunch breaks. If I wasn't doing anything that would wear makeup, I'd go and take a nap.
While riding it, or just in that? Because I know people would go in the back of that city area too, because you can get back there, cast member wise. Where would I have my ashes?
I know. I'm thinking too. I can't. I don't know.
That's tough.
Why
Oh,
was
I
it
know.
such an easy pick for
I
me?
want
Is
my
the real
ashes.
question.
I want my ashes in the honey pot sitting on top of the piano at Country Bear Jamboree.
Oh,
Oh,
Okay.
that's nice.
that was a good choice.
Yeah.
Well, moving on to our next spooky story. Janine, tell us about how some people have died due to flight, sort of.
Not quite, but yeah. So I was just doing some research and digging around the depths of the internet when we were, coming up with our stories for this one. And, there's lists out there with like most haunted places at Disney. And like I knew I didn't want to do anything like that. So I turned to the only place that's reasonable to turn in a time like this, which is Reddit. Deeper down, and I found a
Alright.
post from someone named Honeycakes 4 years ago talking about the
Pancakes.
ghost of Soren at Disneyland's California Adventure. And I kind of did a little dive into it. And Honeycakes is not the only person talking about the ghost of Soren. So, it is specifically in Disneyland California Adventure. Soren has 2 theaters, Theater A and Theater B. Theater A, we don't care about Theater A. Theater B, apparently
Non-spooky, that theater.
not spooky.
Theater
Nope,
A is totally normal.
Ghost-averse, ask for
No one
Theater
even
A.
wants to be in Theater A. It's on the side.
Yeah.
Theater B is where it's all at.
Yes. So anyway, apparently Theater B is kind of prone to like issues. And there have been reports. Okay, so here's the deal. During the ride, there's one cast member who has to hang out in the theater and just make sure everything is cool, whatever. Underneath the screen is like a basement area, and there's metal stairs that go down. And multiple cast members have reported hearing what sounds like footsteps going up and down these stairs. And the thing is there's a door that has a dead man switch that if someone opens this door, it shuts off the ride. So there can't be anyone coming up and down these stairs because there's no one down there, and there's a door that would kill the ride if someone were to come in and out of it. So, somehow through the lore of this, people have deduced that it's a little girl. And so people have done a little bit of a deeper dive, and they found that before Disneyland California Adventure was built, Disneyland California Adventure was built on Disneyland's parking lot. And we were able to find a New York Times article from September of 1985 talking about a 7-year-old girl named Jennifer Reed, who was walking through the Disneyland parking lot with her uncle after a long day at Disney and got hit by a charter bus and killed in the parking lot. And the story goes that this is the ghost of little Jennifer haunting Soren B forevermore. How nice to be a ghost and be stuck in a parking lot, and then someone builds a theme park on top of it, and you get to like be at a theme park. That's
It's
cool.
fun. Yeah.
For a 7
You know what?
year
I didn't like the basement part. That's kind of scared me.
Yeah, that was a hard no.
Yeah.
It is a hard no. Yeah.
But you know what's crazy? I've heard of her ghost, but I didn't even know that she was haunting Soren. I thought that she was just haunting Pixar Pier because I used to work at Pixar Pier, and we had the stock room in the back of Bing Bong's sweet store, and it would always like drop in temperature randomly, and like I used to always think that it was just because there was the kitchen back there and we had like all the treats back there, but like somebody told me like one time it was Jennifer's ghost, and it was the same story that she got hit by the bus. I didn't know that she was roaming the park, and I guess she's hanging out at Soren too, but you can find her at Pixar Pier.
I've heard that she's at Tower of Terror as well, but I feel like that's just such a naturally spooky ride that maybe people are just like
probably, yeah.
But now it's Guardians, so I'm curious if she's still haunting Guardians.
Yeah. Well, at least somebody likes Pixar Pier. That's nice.
I know. I was about to say,
Yeah.
I'm like, I mean, at least someone's enjoying it.
It's pretty at nighttime. I
That's
like
true.
Pixar Pier. I have like an
is.
emotional connection to it.
I
Right.
do too.
So, yeah.
Ooh, spooky.
That one was scary.
Moving
Yeah,
on.
that kind of freaked me out.
I want to talk about. Well, I don't want to talk about, but sorry, you want to talk about an interesting thing. I hear, being a Disney World person, I hear there's something called trains. I haven't seen one in literal years anymore around here. So, you tell me about train ghosts. What spooky
there's,
stories do you
like,
have?
multiple like train stories apparently. So the first one that I wanted to talk about was the monorail, and we all love the monorail. I love the monorail. It's very beautiful. But this story goes back to 1966. So like this is one of the earlier ghost stories, and this happened on grad night. Grad nights are just not great. Stuff happens. Weird stuff happens. But one of the first people that died at Disneyland was 19 years old, and he was attending one of the grad night events. And essentially, he scaled the fence and climbed onto the monorail track. And obviously, we can all guess what happened next. He got hit by the monorail, and he died.
Now, is this the
So
story that where he gets hit by the monorail and falls off, or is this the one where he gets underneath or tries to get off and gets sucked up in the middle of it?
it's the one where he gets caught underneath and like he gets
Yeah,
sucked up.
that's my favorite.
I think
death
I saw
at
that they had to like
Your
he got like
favorite? Your
scraped
favorite?
across
Yeah.
the monorail.
Yeah, he got
I've
scraped.
Like
never
dragged.
heard this before.
Yeah,
This is there's like been multiple of these, I guess.
yeah. People don't
but-
learn apparently.
They don't. And, so he got struck by the monorail, and there have been reports from like over the years of monorail drivers just like driving on the track, and they'll see the silhouette of the boy, but before they hit him, he vanishes into thin air. He just disappears. So this is a continuing story. And then the second one is of Walt Disney actually being seen on the Disneyland track, the Disneyland train track. And I guess like there was like he loved the trains, he loved being on them, and cast members continue every single day to just like there's like a light in one of the tunnels that like flickers on and off. And people are saying that it's like Morse code, like that says like it's like Walt Disney and like he's trying to speak to the train drivers. So that was another train spooky story. So the trains at Disneyland are haunted. If you want to go on them, feel free. But the monorail one just kind of freaked me out.
You done ruined the train for me now.
I hope not, because the train is like one of the more peaceful places. And then when I saw those stories, I was like, oh God, awesome. So
I mean, if Walt's gonna be haunting anything, I feel like it would be a train.
Yeah.
there was
Yeah,
another
that
one
is very
that
on brand.
there was another one that I saw about Walt haunting the backstage smoking area because apparently his
Oh, I
wife
heard about
Lily,
this.
yeah, his wife Lily didn't like him smoking in front of all the other kids and in the park, so he would go backstage and he would smoke there. And cast members till this day think that it's him smoking, like they'll smell smoke from cigarettes and stuff. But my theory is
it down
there's
by
a bunch of
Jungle
smoking-
Cruise? Is that the spot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my theory is that it's just a bunch of other cast members smoking because they're all smoking backstage.
I mean, the irony of it is that didn't he die from like lung cancer?
Yeah.
He sure did.
Sure did.
So
Sure
don't
did.
smoke. Don't smoke.
Don't smoke,
That's the-
kids. This Halloween, don't take fentanyl candy and don't smoke. Those are the 2 rules of Halloween this year.
But you could do other stuff if you want. But like don't smoke and take them.
Yeah.
If kids are still listening, there's much bigger problems going on.
Yeah. We're pretty tame compared to what kids can listen to. So
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair.
very good. Well, thank you all for your spooky Are You Afraid of the Park stories. Let's move on and talk just a little bit about Oogie Boogie Bash versus our own Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween Party here at Disney World. So we got East versus West, classic tale. How many of you went to Oogie Boogie this year? Who went to Oogie Boogie? Anyone? We got Victoria went to Oogie Boogie. I don't live on that
Oh,
coast,
I
so I
thought
don't.
Sarah went.
No, I'm not spending the no. Sorry.
That's why I put the thing in the first place because I thought it was gonna be both of them.
Well,
No,
Victoria.
But I can speak on Oogie Boogie. I've seen it before, so I can.
What
I
about
could
sure?
comment.
What about
Yeah.
Mickey's Not So Scary? Did anyone go to Mickey's Not So Scary? No, because we're all friggin' poor.
I've been at the park at like 5 o'clock on the day that.
I've seen people come in.
That's always a treat. I
I've
feel
seen
like
the
that's
YouTube videos.
Yeah.
the real play is just.
Yeah,
For an
I have
AP
seen the
anyway.
YouTube videos. I mean,
Yeah.
we sound like a real bunch of posers at the moment because we didn't really experience this one. But look, I love, as we've talked about before this podcast, I love Christmas. I'm never, ever paying Disney for the Christmas party.
I'll never pay for an after
Just all
hours.
nuts. Y'all crazy.
Absolutely. You're literally just paying for early access because all they do is after the parties, they just give those out as part of the daily operations entertainment. Like,
Yeah. And Oogie
Yeah.
Boogie might be the only one that I've ever seen where I was like, I think that's enough material that's worth
Yeah.
going. So,
I thought it was worth the money, to be honest. I mean, I'm still eating the candy. so-
okay, let's talk about this then. Victoria, you have done how many has anyone, not even just this year, has anyone done Mickey's Not So Scary at any point?
Oh, yeah,
Okay,
I've done
so
it,
we
yeah.
have Jessica's done it, Victoria's done it.
I've worked at it and been to it.
Okay, so we've got two sides of the coin. I'm curious, real quick, Jessica. Are are people different at these parties than they are, say, normally during the day? Is this a different kind of crew? Are you getting the spooky crew, or is this still kids and parents are mad and pay
Not
too much?
not at Disney. You're not getting the spooky crew. You might get some more adults, but not really.
Sure.
I worked at it like well before the shutdown, so it does not look now anything like it looked back then. The parade is like 90% the same.
Mhm.
But like the meet and greet options are very different. I going as a guest to the Halloween party, which was after I was a cast member at it, I enjoyed it quite a bit. I went without my children, and I think that's how it needs to stay with them being young. If they were older, it would have been fine. Like now they're 7 and 9. I think it would be okay, but I wouldn't go with kids any younger than that.
You wouldn't go to kids to Disney World for the Halloween party.
Till midnight? Absolutely not.
No, that
That
makes
is a
sense.
hard no.
And not even technically
With all that
till
candy.
midnight, because you gotta get out of the park,
Mhm.
and then you gotta get on the
Listen.
monorail or the ferry,
Yeah.
and you gotta get to the TTC,
It's the
and then you
worst.
gotta get to your car.
Victoria,
really-
you met my children. I do not share their names or their likenesses on the internet, but you have met them. Could you imagine my daughter up at midnight eating candy at the Magic Kingdom, and how freaking crazy she would be for 3 days after?
Your children would be a menace.
What you're saying is you would prefer a nice Halloween brunch. Let's just have a
Yeah.
little.
It would be nice if they had some level of that. Like SeaWorld does it, where they have Halloween operations during the day.
Yeah.
They have Spooktacular during the day,
Yeah.
and then they have Hallow Scream at night. So
Mhm.
they have an adult event in the evening, and they have a kids event all during the day that's included with a regular park ticket. So you get to go participate in Spooktacular on the weekends at SeaWorld for regular, like during regular operations. You don't have to buy a separate ticket for that. I think
But you have to go to
that is-
SeaWorld. That's the. I'm just joking. Actually,
Excuse me,
enjoy.
if you're gonna hate on
No
SeaWorld,
SeaWorld stand
No,
up
I
for
kind of
me.
like SeaWorld quite a bit,
Yeah.
actually. Sesame Street wins for me. The
Right.
reason I like
But
SeaWorld.
what I'm
so.
saying is like, if you're gonna pay all that money to get
Yeah.
candy for little kids, I mean, ones who can't stay up that late without significant problems, that is the better event, because you also get a disgusting amount of candy, and it's
Mhm.
during the day.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's a good point. It's a great
Yeah,
point.
But that's my 2 cents. But Victoria, I want to hear about Oogie Boogie.
Oogie Boogie was definitely worth the money that I paid. I don't remember how much I paid, but I know it was worth the money I paid. So
What was the best part of
Um,
it?
honestly, if you're really into characters, this is the place to fucking be. And I'm not
Yeah.
even joking. Like literally just there was characters there I didn't even realize were there until like I was already done. And then they have I mean, the
And
only
it's special
thing I was
characters. Like
and
it's not ones that
special
you see.
characters.
Yeah.
Like it's not even talking about the villains. Like you get Mulan as Ping, you get Hercules, the Blue Fairy. Like there was just so many Oh, and Remy and Emil were out,
Mm.
which I didn't even know until that night.
I didn't
So
even know
was
they
like,
had them as characters that were
neither
able
did
to come
I.
out. Yeah.
I didn't either, but yeah,
I
like
mean, I
character
was so
bonanza.
excited when I saw that you took pictures with Bruno in your
Mhm.
Dolores costume. I was like,
That's so cute.
Oh, I love
I was
that.
living so much for that. Like I saw that picture and I was like, oh my god, yes.
It was
so
a good
excited.
time. Yeah,
Okay,
like
okay,
the
buddy.
interactions are just so great. Like
Yeah.
literally.
The event as a whole, I think, is the only event that seems kind of like worth the money, because there's so much to do and so much to see that you can't even get done in the 4 or 5 hours that you're there.
Right.
And the merch is cool, the characters are cool, they even have special food options. Like the whole park actually transforms into an actual event. And having worked the event It's intense. Like, it's crazy. Like, I worked the first year. I remember lines for the merch, which is wild, because people didn't even really get to enjoy the events because
Yeah.
the merch lines were like hour to 2 hours long. It's really cool. I think it's a different crowd than the regular everyday crowd. Like, it's more hardcore fans that actually come out and dress up, and like they'll come out in really, really cool costumes. So yeah, I think it's
And the
worth it.
vibes were actually really nice. Like, it was
Yeah.
very chill. It wasn't stressful at all.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I got literally everything done I wanted to do except one character.
Mhm.
And I was perfectly fine with that. Like, if you plan it out correctly, you can get everything done.
You can. Yeah.
I will
mean,
say
that's-
the only thing I just didn't like the parade. The parade
Yeah.
was short.
I mean, that's the difference between a local park and an international park. I feel like
Yeah.
you're gonna have chiller vibes if it's the majority of people there have not flown in from all over the place and have attached this to the end of their trip or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everyone's kind of coming with the same vibes, which is helpful. I mean, isn't this another case of East Coast being, or I'm sorry, is this another case of West Coast being better than East Coast? I mean, I think we'd all agree.
It seems clear to me.
Yeah.
In characters,
it's
I'm
fair.
sorry, but we got y'all beat. Like,
We never
Oh,
had
God,
characters.
of course. Yeah, we don't.
Mm.
We
don't get
have.
nothing.
I take that back. We have Winnie the Pooh with the bug net who
Mhm.
hangs out outside Journey into the Imagination, and that is my favorite.
Does he still wear his Bumblebee outfit on Halloween though? Which is
I
always
don't
cute.
know. I don't know. I haven't
I
seen
never
him.
seen
Sleuth
that.
for a
I
while.
think
and
all the
then-
Winnie the Pooh characters still wear them, but
Hmm.
I haven't seen them in it recently.
Yeah. We do get gravediggers in the parade, which is kind of cool.
that is pretty
But
cool.
yeah.
That's about it. It's just because it's like, look, performers
Look,
on
sparkles.
the street. Who'd have thought? Entertaining. So there you go. That's a little Oogie Boogie, a little Mickey's Not So Scary. Let us know if you've went to these and you have a preference. Let us know. We'll talk about it in our answer bag. You can get at us at bit.ly/ratcastle. So moving on, let's go to other theme parks. Actually, before we go to other theme parks, I do have another Disney question for you all, which is after watching, and you guys have already talked about Werewolf. I want to call it Werewolf by Night, and I think that's correct. My brain is, Werewolf by Night. My brain went completely frozen. I loved Werewolf by Night. I thought it was amazing. It's like my favorite Marvel thing right now. What say you all to officially getting some scare zones at Disney? And if you had your choice, what IPs would you use for your scare zones? If you could do a couple. For me,
Scare
Well,
zones
I
at
know.
Disney?
Doesn't Hong Kong do that technically?
Hong Kong does a Halloween jungle cruise. Which is very cool. It's like a cursed thing, and they've got like shadows in the tents of people being attacked, and I believe that's Hong Kong. It could be Japan, but yeah, which is
Or
pretty
maybe
cool.
I'm thinking Shanghai. Either way.
So, are you like advocating for like a adults themed
I'm
kind of almost
advocating-
HHN for Disney?
I'm
Would you
advocating
see
for
that
a
happening?
middle ground. Right?
Okay.
okay.
I'm
I think a
advocating
middle ground. I think there's room for that. Like there is none.
So like a SeaWorld having
Like
like a
a-
day event and a night event.
Well, not even that.
Mhm.
I'm just talking about do some scare areas, do
but
some
it's
houses.
not gore. It's just like
It's not gore.
Spooky.
It's a little bit darker.
They stay out of your bubble, right?
Mhm.
So they jump and they are in corners, whatever, but they're not in your bubble. And maybe the mid ground is sort of Skull Island. If you guys know of Skull Island's queue and the fact
Okay.
that they have native tribe members, or they used to. I don't even know if they're doing that anymore.
Not anymore.
They haven't done that. Since
That's
the
good because
pandemic.
I'll go on Skull Island more.
I'm with you there.
I'm baby. But also because I think they did it and they're like, this is gonna be great. And then they were like, oh wait a minute, is this racially insensitive? Is this okay? Is this okay? I don't
If
think
we gotta ask, maybe it's not.
I'm putting black
Yeah.
makeup on this white actor. Is this okay?
Like,
So
Yeah.
but that sort of, because they would just sort of look from holes in the wall. They wouldn't reach out really or anything. They were just kind of there,
okay.
glaring at you.
What's the park that has it transforms, I think, the castle where you can go inside and it becomes like a mad scientist.
I think that's Hong Kong. I
Is
think
it
that's
Hong
what I was
Kong?
thinking of.
Or is it Tokyo?
Are you talking about
I think
Tokyo's old show with the Black Cauldron?
I think so. I think that would be a good middle ground.
Mm.
Something similar to that,
I
where
could
it's
see a
like
Black Cauldron.
spooky and dark.
That was Cinderella's Castle Mystery Tour, if you're
Yeah.
curious what that was. Yeah.
I mean, I think it would be very easy for them to kind of lean into some of their more, like, because Disney has no shortage of spooky material.
Mm-mm.
I mean, just Liberty Square itself can be pretty spooky, you know,
Yeah.
if you just expand Haunted Mansion.
Well, Jess,
I mean, not even Haunted Mansion, Hall of Presidents is right there.
Yeah,
I mean,
well, that's scary
true.
enough.
Nothing scarier than a politician.
Yeah,
so.
that's a
For
room
real.
full of white men. It's as scary as it gets.
Mhm.
But my big makeover for the Magic Kingdom has always been that Liberty Square just needs to be converted into Sleepy Hollow, just completely.
I would be
It
on
makes the
board with
most
that.
sense to me.
Yeah, because it also, I don't know, for me, I think that dissolves and transitions a little bit easier into Frontierland than like Colonial. I mean, it's still Colonial, but I think you can have more vines and do a little different stuff. But yeah,
I think there's ways to lean into it for sure in each of the lands, really.
you have a freaking cave in Magic Kingdom.
For no reason.
Yeah, it's just there.
But like
it's
even
just
Snow White's Scary Adventure, like that is a good example of a middle ground. Like that ride still scares the well, not anymore, but it used to scare the shit out of me.
Mhm.
So that could be a good middle ground.
But they
of
changed
having-
it.
Yeah, but they still got that scary scene where like
Yeah.
she comes out at you.
That is
It's like you gotta close your eyes a
legit.
little bit. So something like that. I think it's possible, but I don't know about like whole ass scare zones. I
Well,
think
my-
that's like intense.
My thing is Universal does it because Universal is, as I've said in the past, is the teenager on the skateboard that's like, yeah, I'm Bart Simpson, compared to Disney, which has always been Ned Flanders. And the thing though is like Hollywood Studios is not super Ned Flandersy. Like Hollywood Studios always wanted to be a little more thrilling. I mean, two of their main e-tickets are thrill rides that really aren't for kids. And I think that's a great place that you can do that kind of stuff. Like I think you can segment out Hollywood Studios as being the place where you do a scare zone. I think California Adventure
Well,
is the
didn't
same
they
way.
try that one year?
I don't know
Did
what
it?
they've tried, but I don't think they've
No,
done.
they did. They did. They tried it and it was a fucking chaotic mess and they never did it again. It was like a whole thing where they just had a bunch of villains and like a bunch of characters there. And I forget what it was called.
The Villains Unite, was that
I
it?
know.
I
know
think that's
you're
what it
talking
was.
about. I
And it was
remember.
just a shit show.
Yeah. Well, but again, like I'm just saying, like, you know, do a werewolf at night, werewolf by night. Oh, I can't say it right. I'm just tired. Werewolf by night area. You know, you have Man Thing, you have the werewolf, you have.
I think
things
if you
can
do like a Villains Grove type of
Yeah.
thing and have that be like a designated area of like a scare zone with the werewolf by night
yeah.
kind of vibe, that like if you want to go in, you can go in.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I think that's a good idea.
But, like,
yeah.
Yeah. That's
I
a
mean,
great
hell,
idea.
take it out to Fort Wilderness. Like, if you really want to like make it its own thing and don't want it to be, and it's its own ticketed thing, and you just do a thing out there, like do that. Like you can.
Actually,
But
that Villains Grove idea for the East Coast would have worked perfectly if we still had Streets of America.
mhm, mhm.
Hmm.
If
Yeah.
only.
If
If
only.
only.
If only.
So anyway, anyone else have any properties they'd like to see as scare zones? Think you could do a
You could do like the zombie Marvel stuff.
Mm-hmm. That's
That
a
could
great
work.
costume. The Marvel
Yeah,
stuff
for
is
that.
where I always think of first, and that's all
Yeah.
California Adventure. I never get to see any of it. But yeah, just bring back Alien Encounter for like one night a week.
Oh God, no.
Honestly, that would actually really do well.
Desmond really wants to do
Yeah.
that because
Yeah.
I've told him it traumatized me for life, and he,
And he's like, yeah.
yeah, traumatized
Yes,
me.
trauma,
My turn. And I'm
please.
like,
Yeah,
I love
kids
trauma.
are different these days.
no, he's not.
No, he's not.
He can't hang.
But
He could not hang.
He
But
thinks
he's
he
cooler
can.
than
think you can
me.
do
That's what
these
matters.
things, Nemo, but you can.
He can ride Velocicoaster
At least he's
without sweating.
confident. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, he's built different.
Yeah, he's built different.
The internet age has savaged children. All right,
Yeah.
so moving on. Let's talk about actual scare zones, actual scare places, and this is going to be Jessica and Victoria's whole shebang because I didn't go to Hollywood Horror Nights because I don't like getting scared.
The rest of
Sarah
us are babies.
didn't go because she is both scared and poor. I'm poor too. And
I have a
Victoria.
ticket. I just am not going. So if
Oh,
y'all
you
want
have
my
a ticket? You're still not
Yeah,
going?
because I have with the pass, you get a free ticket.
Oh,
I'm
so
still
you're
not
just a
gonna
baby.
go.
So you're just a baby. You're just.
I'm
a
just a
baby.
baby. I'm just a baby.
That makes sense.
Or two, but a baby.
Okay. And Janine, you didn't go, correct? You
Yeah,
didn't go to
scared
Hollywood?
and poor.
Yeah, scared and poor.
Scared and poor.
It's.
I love that for us.
You're dealing with your urban class, which is the scariest thing in the world.
Yes.
You don't need
Very
to go to
scary.
Scare Zone. So Jessica, Victoria, tell us about Halloween Horror Nights this year and your thoughts. And the three of us will now lean back.
All right, Victoria, you go first. You're a regular.
Which one?
Both.
Oh yeah, she
well,
went to both, you guys.
Yeah.
She went to
Both
both.
So, well, Orlando's, as always, was the shit. I really enjoy the creativity and the storytelling that the Universal creative team always put into their houses. I was only able to do 4 of the houses this year. It was Dead Man's Pier, Chupacabra. Jessica, I did another one with you, didn't I?
With me, I don't know. I know you did Spirits of the Coven.
Yes, it was Spirits of the Coven and Chupacabra with you. And
Yes.
Did you do the weekend house?
I couldn't do the weekend because there was strobe lights in there, and I've grown sensitive in my old age. I can't really do flashing lights like that. So I heard it was great though. Like that.
I can
that's
talk
what I
about
heard.
that in a minute.
Yeah, but overall, I really enjoyed the scare zones. I really, really enjoyed Sweet Revenge. I know that's corny because everyone's like, "Oh, Sweet Revenge isn't really scary," but like the interaction with the scare actors in there were so funny, and just watching people just get scared was hilarious.
I'm going to quote you, and the one point you did get scared. Quote, "Bitch, why?"
Oh yeah.
I'm walking with Victoria through Sweet Revenge, and there is a character who is in just like a normal dress, but with a pumpkin head on, and she had a can, like a aluminum can with beans in it, and she walks up, and we see her coming, and she literally shakes the jar in Victoria's face, and her response is, "Bitch, why?" And I laughed so hard and keep repeating that.
Well, you will be happy to know that the phrase continued at HHN Hollywood.
Oh my god!
But it was in the well, I guess I can segue into that. So Hollywood's, they are fucking lawless out there. Like
That's why I don't go.
They're like, there are no boundaries. So like in the Orlando HHN, you're safe on the sidewalk. Like as long as you stay on the sidewalk, they ain't gonna bother you. Hollywood said, fuck all that. We will follow you into the store entrance and we'll wait for you. Fuck a sidewalk. And then it's very crowded because
they'll wait for you even outside of the bathrooms.
I
They
saw
don't care.
someone. I saw someone like get stalked into the bathroom and they waited. And I was like, oh, what in the world is this? Like, this was wild. And they had the houses, I feel like left a little bit to be desired. Both coasts had some same houses, but like different scenes and sets that they had done. But otherwise, I really enjoyed Terror Tram. Terror Tram has the Jupiter's Claim from Nope, and unlike the normal operating hours, you can actually walk through it.
That's so cool.
Yeah,
and it was really cool because they have a mashup of Nope and The Tethered from Us. So you see scare actors like interacting with the set and all that stuff. And it was really cool. And they have their own icons similar to to what is his name, Jack or whatever. His is a little bit more scarier though. But it was overall, I enjoyed it. The food could have been better. It's like
That's
they're
always my
trying-
issue with Universal.
It the food could have been a lot. Well, they only had like 3 booths.
And
at
it's
Hollywood.
not like crazy food. Like it's just like
It's, like,
typical
better
theme
food.
park. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like barbecue, and I'm like, I'm not tasting theme park barbecue, respectfully. Oh, and Jabberwockies. They have the Jabberwockies. The end.
I mean, yes, but do they have 3 a.m. Cinemax the musical like we have, which is Nightmare Fuel?
I don't know. Nightmare Fuel makes me happy that I'm bisexual. But
Same. I feel like a lot of women discovered that they were bisexual while watching Nightmare Fuel. Just putting that out there.
If you're curious, go watch Nightmare Fuel.
You'll know. It's a
yeah,
you'll
confirming
know.
thing.
You'll know by the end of it. You absolutely will.
oh, you'll know.
All
But
right.
I have so many thoughts about Halloween Horror Nights. But Victoria, I want to know, what is your favorite house from both?
My favorite house from Hollywood, I would definitely say, oh Lord, it was that I don't know how to pronounce it correctly, so forgive me. It's La Llorona.
La
La
Llorona.
Llorona.
Yes, that was scary as fuck.
She's terrifying.
Yeah.
Literally, I did that, and I was like, yeah, it's time for me to go back to my hotel.
That was it. Tapping out.
And
Nah.
Orlando, I'd probably say Legends. I'd probably say Legends Collide. I wanted to do Bug House, but I
That's
couldn't
the
get
one that
past the
makes me want to
holes.
go.
So
I
I
want to
will
do
tell
it
you,
so
Is
bad.
it buggy? Are there actual bugs in it? Or
Yeah,
not like
so
actual live
Janine-
bugs, but
Janine, it is okay. So my favorite house is Dead Man's Pier, which I can get to in a second, but Bug's House is my easy number 2. There are life-size bugs in it, like a life-size cockroach, a life-size fly that comes out of like a kitchen scene. There's a life-size grub worm. They
That's
are
nasty.
by life size, do you mean
Yeah.
like actual
They're people.
size, or okay, so people sized bugs.
correct.
I
Do
love
they
that.
look realistic? Like very realistic?
Okay, so it's dark, but yes. So the costumes are really phenomenal. The only one that doesn't is the fly, because he's like a weird mutated human fly hybrid.
Gross.
Very
but there's-
Kafka? Very Kafka.
Yeah, I would absolutely say that. But then there's also a lot of performers that are humans where you can see that bugs have laid eggs in their face.
Oh, I'm sure people love that.
See,
It
and that's
is-
why I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Right.
No.
If you have the tiny holes thing, don't go.
Yeah, I had the
that
tiny
one.
holes thing.
There is a tunnel in it that is pitch black, and they have fishing line hanging from the ceiling, so it feels like spider webs are hitting your
Ew.
face.
Oh man.
And I absolutely loved it, beginning, middle, and end. But it starts out, that one in particular, like a 1960s commercial for a window air conditioning unit that sprays pesticides to
Oh my
bugs out of your
God.
house. That's the storyline of it. That's how it starts. And so essentially this pesticide is supposed to age bugs and larvae to the point where they just die. They never hit breeding age. They just go right to old and dead. And but instead it mutates them and grows them to human size. That is the story of the house. So easily my favorite story of a house.
I love that.
Yes, it is phenomenal.
I like how me
Um,
and Nathan are just like cringing and
I'm
are just
so
like
sorry.
grossed out.
And
No,
I'm like,
I
him
I
and Janine
like
is
this
like,
house.
whoa.
I'm like legitimately like I really like this house because I
It's a
really
I
like
want to
concept.
go to that one.
like 50s this kind of stuff is fun. I still don't want to go to the house, but like it's very enjoyable.
It's a cool story. Like
Yeah.
it's a cool concept.
And I love
think
when they
it
do
was
original
massively
stories.
underrated. Massively underrated. in my opinion.
Oh, I agree. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I probably do like Dead Man's Pier better. It was just such a beautifully done set.
That's what I hear is like Dead Man's Pier's got great
visually
vibes.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, gorgeous.
like that house
absolutely
is getting
gorgeous.
house of the year. End of discussion. Like, I will entertain no other options, in my opinion. Now, the Weekend was a great house. It was not a scary house. It is visually a lot. So
Right.
this is why Victoria decided not to go in it. And I have to say, I completely understand. It is visually like all strobes and flashing lights pretty much the entire time. And it is, like I said, not scary. There are parts of that are very gory, but it is not, there's always a house that's more of a like artistic choice of a house versus a scary house. And I think that was that one. But I think truly what?
I said that makes sense.
Yeah, they always have something like that, but I think it's visually amazing, but not scary. Does that make sense?
I heard that house had like timing issues. Would you agree?
I would say that my biggest problem with that house is that there's a lot of open space. So you know how normally you go through a house and it's tight. So you know exactly where you're going and you know exactly where they want your eye to go.
Yeah.
There were several big open rooms and you weren't quite sure which direction to go in. So like you were following the line, but like there's performers up on a stage or there's performers just standing to the side. They weren't in boo holes. So you could see them far before you ever walked up on them, with few exceptions.
Is that a true term? Boo holes? I don't know about the term boo holes.
That is a technical term that Universal uses.
It's so cute.
Boo holes.
It is literally what it sounds like. It is a hole that you are in and you push the button and you go boo, and then you go back in your hole.
And you push the button because it lights it up, right? Is that how it works?
Well, it hits an effect. So it doesn't always hit like a light. It will sometimes hit a sound. So for example, if you're supposed to lip sync to an audio or a scream or something like that, you hit this button, there's your cue, come back in. So, but there's very few boo holes in The Weekend, which is, I think, why it's not good.
Sorry. It's just funny to say the term there's very few boo holes in The Weekend.
I would hope there's only
one is the normal
so many
amount of.
There's just one boo hole in The Weekend.
There's a lot. Normally it's all boo holes, because if you think about it, I mean, have you guys historically ever been to something like that? Been to Halloween Horror Nights?
Yeah, I've been.
Okay. So if you've ever been at all and you've been through one house, I mean, a boo hole is literally almost every scare.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So I would say easily 10 to 15 per house, depending on how many performers in the house.
Right.
Now you won't hit every one. Like I walk slow in houses because I like to look and appreciate. And almost always the group in front of me is the one that gets the scare because I'm not rushing through. I'm not trying to run through. So I often will see the scare happen before I happen upon it.
Do you ever feel like when you see that and then they scare you as well, do you feel this need to be like, and like do a scare just so they feel like they did their job?
So I am not a fun scare. I'm not a fun scare, but my friend who has been a performer at Halloween Horror Nights since before I did it, that's how long I've known her. She did it before I did, and she still does it. She is a chainsaw performer, and she's doing it again this year. She's phenomenal.
What does that mean? What do you mean by chainsaw performer? Explain.
So she is a street performer that has a chainsaw. Yeah.
Okay.
So she is one of the performers, characters who has a chainsaw.
Yeah.
Usually they're in zones all together. Yes. So she does that every year at this point now. And there was one point, so I have largely not been startled through the whole season. And literally last week, my fiance and I were walking through right in front of Mel's, and she's like 5'0", and she pops out from behind another guest and gets me right in the face. And I'm like, God. it was my bitch why moment, and I literally sent her a gif of Seth Meyers being like, "You got me."
I love that you knew it was her too.
Well,
That's
I mean,
nice.
she also starts then talking to me.
Oh.
She gets me right in the face and then turns around and walks with us. My fiance and I are very tall people. I'm 5'10", which for a woman is tall, but he's 6'6". So she used him for cover to get another guest.
Nice.
That's cool.
Sorry, I like this idea that you're like, oh no, maybe it's one of your several friends who are chainsaw performers. Like,
I mean,
who knows?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Because they usually wear masks and stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like you
Right.
can't really tell. So
Yeah,
so
no, they do wear masks. But I mean, there was no mistaking who this was at this point.
Yeah.
But I have, and then two of my students, my former dance students, are performing in the event. So I got to see both of them. One is in the Legends house. And when we went through, he actually followed us through the whole house. So he's in like one of the first scares, and then he followed us and got us like 4 times, like hit us like 4 different sections throughout that house. I've been teaching him, I stopped recently, like a couple years ago, but I started teaching him. He wasn't even in high school yet. He was like middle school. And his older sister, he's like 21 now. His sister is 23 or 24. And I've been teaching her the same amount of time. And she's on the Sweet Revenge Street. So that it was fun to go see her as well. So that was kind of a weird full circle moment as a performer and dance teacher to go see your students perform.
Yeah.
So when you worked HHN, what did you do?
So I was a scare actor in the New York area. So year 21, so it's 2011. And I was in the Acid Assault Street. So that was the first year they had the projections of like buildings crumbling. Remember, that was the first time they ever utilized that technology, and they had 9 Inch Nails playing all the time.
Oh,
so
boy.
I was in heaven, so I was fine. But I had acid burns all over my face. It was a really cool concept. It essentially was like New York City after like years and years of acid rain had corroded all of the buildings and everything.
Oh, we're not that far off from that, huh?
I mean,
how long was your makeup application?
So I had latex appliances and then airbrush makeup.
Okay.
I did not have a mask, but they did. They loaded me up with latex appliances. It was different every night. But the makeup artist actually would pull up pictures of what real acid burns would look like and try to replicate it.
Yeah.
So they would give me their phone, or now this was 2011. Nobody had iPads and stuff at the time. So they would have like a picture on, their BlackBerry or whatever, and I'd be holding it so they could like try and replicate
on the tiny
it.
screen.
This is my acid BlackBerry where I keep all my acid photos.
Right. Now some of them had iPhones, but like, that was still like not everybody had iPhones back then.
Yeah. I have my acid photos on my iPod. I had to convert them, but they're on there. It's my iPod Color.
But I know you guys are saying that like you get scared and stuff. I was not always okay with going.
Okay. Interesting.
So my first experience at anything that was like that was at Fright Fest at Six Flags Great Adventure. I was in high school. It did not go well. Another situation of performers chasing you into restaurants and stores. I did not like that. And then I went to Halloween Horror Nights year 20. So the year before I performed at it as a guest. This is right before I did Grinchmas that Christmas. So I went and I stayed on the sidewalks. I did not even bother walking through. But after I worked the event for a week, that was it. I'm fine. Like I always liked horror movies and stuff like that. Like I always liked that stuff, but I never liked the in-park experience. But once I worked it, then it was a very different world for me.
I saw in one of your TikToks, you talked about how you had like a few run-ins with guests.
Mm-hmm.
So how was that?
It was a time. So when I did Halloween Horror Nights, the biggest story, I know I've told it on my TikTok, but I got punched in the face by a guy who was asking for my phone number. He was hitting on me. And yes.
Wrong place.
Well, I mean,
that took a turn.
Yeah.
Listen, I was like, all right, dude. But anyway,
he was into the acid, maybe. I don't know.
Well, he was super drunk. Like, I was not. Like, I get, like, he was just being, like, okay, I'm gonna ask, So there was that, and then I tried to walk away, and he hit me in the face.
What the fuck?
And I had to go to Dr. Phillips Hospital. They, OPD was there, watched the whole thing happen. He is no longer allowed at Universal.
Jesus.
But I also made Joey Fatone's friend spill beer on him. So they were in our street, standing in a circle. If you worked at the Orlando theme parks, he is a regular.
Mm-hmm.
So he and his friends were standing in a circle right in front of what was then Twister, what is now Jimmy Fallon. And so that was like right where I was at. And so I did this thing where I like looped around behind him and got the woman standing next to him, and she spilled half her beer all over his leg.
Very good. Excellent.
Exactly. And
top tier.
Yeah. I've also told this story too. I was performing with my friend. He is a disabled performer. He has no legs. He's in a wheelchair. Horror Nights fans will know exactly who I'm talking about. I will not share his name. He's a favorite. That was both of our first year performing at it. And he told me one night, he's like, sit in my chair. So I was sitting in front of him on the seat, and he wheels up to people and then stops short. And then I would jump out of the wheelchair.
So evil.
His idea, not mine. So those are just some like quick Horror Nights performer anecdotes and why I'm no longer freaked out by Horror Nights.
Yeah, that would help to say the least. We have another bit of Universal Halloween news to get to this year, which is of course the Dead Coconut Club, which is a big fan favorite already. For those of you who don't know about the Dead Coconut Club, there used to be at City Walk here in Orlando the Red Coconut Club, and it's sort of the best way to put it is sort of jet set. That's kind of the vibe. It's semi 40s, a lot of 50s kind of, that boomerang kind of vibe that you get. That's kind of the look. Not fully, it's a little loungy too, but it was sort of a thing. It did not work after COVID. They shut it down, as they did, I think not all of the clubs in City Walk, but
all of them except the karaoke club,
yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
Rising Star.
So it closed, and then lo and behold, if you follow people like Skipper Haas, who works at Universal, and other people, all of a sudden there was this just little talk, a little commotion about something possibly happening in that area. And then lo and behold, for Halloween this season, the Dead Coconut Club has sprouted, and it's basically using the environment as it is, and adding the addition of horror icons from Universal as figures, not animated or anything, just sort of static figures, and then some extra kind of material, of course, to sort of give off the horror vibes. And you have a wall of photos, kind of like Brown Derby, and you have just all sorts of stuff. The Creature of Black Lagoon now has his own bar area, and it's pretty neat. And the Frankenstein monster and the Bride and Dracula have actually shown up for meet and greets recently. Those of you who has went to the Coconut Club at this point, tell me what thoughts on Dead Coconut Club. I mean, it's the vibe.
I thought it was cute. Like,
yeah.
Well, I didn't get to see the characters, but I got to see the American Sirens perform. Basically, It was like trio of fabulous singers who sing like 60s songs, and they were delightful. The drinks were cool, the vibes were cool. I I saw that they might keep it for Christmas. I saw some hits from Skipper Haas for Christmas, so I'm looking forward to
Desperately
that.
want to go.
Yeah, we need
go.
to. I don't have no.
Desperately want to go.
When you don't have Universal as an annual pass this year, and you're like, okay, I guess I just have to go to City Walk, and that's all I'm gonna do.
At least we can carpool and I can get you free parking.
That's true. That's true. If we only did
Let's
City
go.
Walk,
Yeah.
Let's go. We'll have a night. We'll go.
Yeah.
well, how much longer is it open? I mean, this is
Yeah, that's the real question.
Well,
That's
the
the case.
Halloween one, they said it's open for every night starting 5 to 1 until the end of Horror Nights. I'm not sure what the
okay.
last day of
So
Horror Nights
it's
is.
a couple. I think Horror Nights goes at least another week after Halloween, if not 2. Is it just a week?
It's just right after Halloween.
Is it really? For some reason, I thought it was a
The
little
1st.
longer. A couple days. but-
November 1st.
Wow. For some reason I thought it went to the 3rd. Okay. Well, we'll have to try
Well,
to get
y'all
out
better
there.
go this weekend.
Yeah, I
Let me
know.
double
It's
check
not
that I'm-
happening.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
I'm
for me.
pretty sure Halloween Horror Nights doesn't go. Disney does their Halloween usually a little longer.
Yeah.
But-
Yeah.
Yeah, no, just through the 31st. Yep.
Oh
I was right.
wow.
Oh my
Just
God.
31st is
Y'all gotta
last.
hurry up then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta
Well,
get
the
down.
31st is often not a busy night for Halloween Horror Nights too.
Oh, because everyone's
So-
out doing other things.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
Um,
but like this Friday, Saturday, Sunday is going to be insane, and I will be there for it.
Yeah. The idea of going at a peak time to City Walk might
I
be.
would go on the 31st if I didn't have children to take trick or treating.
Oh, children. But anyways, it kind of rules. It's kind of really neat, and it's just nice to see any theme park company being like, hey, like theme park designers, just do whatever you want to do. Like it's totally carte blanche. Like I'm sure they have limits, but they pretty much got to do what they wanted to do, it seems. And guess what? That works. People really like it.
It works. I went in there, no complaints. I mean, even the drinks were good.
Yeah.
Like,
I hope it stays around. I mean, I don't think it'll save that club. I think there's probably better things they can do with it, but it's a weird spot too. It's like above, and it's not exactly, I think it's always been strange that they've had that second tier area up top. It's always hard kind of to see.
it
So
might get some traffic once the escape room opens.
yeah, totally. I think it would
That still hasn't opened?
be smart to keep that
Yeah.
open.
Yeah, they said fall, but it hasn't opened yet.
Not yet.
I mean, also like the tribute store was kind of a throwaway space, and they have switched it over with every single season. So if they do the same
Very
thing with
true.
the Dead Coconut Club, it could easily become the next tribute store situation. So
Yeah, 100%.
I
Or they
love
could
that
just
idea.
keep it Halloween, like the Halloween theme. I feel like
I
that's
like
also
that.
cool.
That's what I want. I want
Yeah.
that forever.
Yeah, I
Well,
mean, I can
hmm.
imagine them keeping the Universal monsters at
Yeah.
the core of it and having basically a normal vibe, a Halloween vibe, and a Christmas vibe if they want.
And Mardi Gras too.
Well-
if
Yeah.
they want to play that because Fat Tuesdays is right down there, like
Mhm.
Right.
literally adjacent to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Janine, if you want Halloween all year round, we'll just go to Cocktails and Screams in downtown Orlando, which is Halloween all year round, and it's a bar.
Cocktails and Screams? What is that place?
You
It
don't
is
know if
Oh,
cocktails
it's
and
phenomenal.
fun.
Yeah.
It's a fun little bar.
I took Victoria. We took Victoria there when she was in town. It is a vibe.
It is definitely a vibe.
Oh,
to say the least.
wow.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
Oh,
It's,
that's so
you got to
cute.
get your
This-
extrovert going if you're going to go to cocktails and Screams.
Really?
It's that kind
Oh,
of
they have
place.
pinball.
It's
I went
cool.
to like a Fallout themed bar in Orlando that I thought was going to be cool, and
That's such a random theme.
it was not that
Fallout
cool.
Boy, like the band.
No, like the game, like kind
Oh,
of like
I thought the band.
post-apocalyptic,
I was thinking the
Boy
band.
bar that we had
That's
in
what I
Orlando.
heard.
Fallout Boy.
like nuclear fallout, like that.
Oh, the
like
game.
the game.
Yeah, the
That's
game.
cool.
game
man.
Fallout.
Yeah,
I
like-
was like, why would they make
But they didn't have a liquor
bar for
license.
Fallout
Everything
Boy?
was
That's what I was
wine
thinking,
liquor.
Victoria. That's cool.
Oh man. Well, so if you haven't already, get yourself down to Dead Coconut Club and enjoy it. My favorite thing, just those who have went and let me know what your favorite vibe about Dead Coconut Club is. For me, it's weird. There's just in the portrait area, there's portraits of Tom Servo and Crow T Robot from Mr. Science Theater 3000, and it's my favorite thing there. I mean, I can't ask for anything more than that. So that for me, that's like pinnacle. Anybody else? Is there a favorite spot or vibe at the Dead Coconut Club?
I mean, I just love. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just Universal Monsters, seeing them use it, especially since they got rid of the Monsters Cafe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was joking with my fiance that Frankenstein and his bride are our doppelgangers, and so I love anything that has them on it. Full disclosure. So
I do love that it feels like good timing to sort of take away the cafe, have this, and then if they keep this till Epic Universe, I think that would make a lot of sense. So who knows? We'll see. Let's see. We kind of talked about, we were going to do a Beware Our Guest. There was a scare actor that got kicked on stilts at Knott's. They were on stilts, and a guest kicked them on their stilts, and they kicked back, and it did not look so hot. We've kind of talked a little bit about scare interactions already. But be careful out there, scare actors. People are drunk and stupid, to say the least. But to finish up, I thought I would ask your guys' Halloween plans. What are you guys planning to do this Halloween? Me, I'm probably putting my Christmas tree up.
I was thinking today about how much I cannot wait to put my Christmas tree up. I have a fiber optic Christmas tree. I want that up forever.
Have you guys seen people's Halloween trees? Have you guys seen that?
I have.
The
so
orange
cool.
and black with skulls
I
and
love
stuff,
that.
ornaments.
Yeah. I would do it with a regular tree, because then you could just like switch out the ornaments.
Yeah.
But Halloween for me is my cat's birthday, so it's Clementine's birthday.
So you got to get the cake, and the grandparents have got to come,
so,
and the whole night. You got to feed the cat the cake, and
So for me, it's just for the past. She's gonna be 3 this year, so we've had her since she was a baby.
It's
so
a big
it's her
year,
birthday.
3.
Yeah, she's a jerk. You probably heard her bell around. She comes out around this time. But yeah, it's Clementine's birthday, so
Happy
wish
birthday,
Clementine
Clementine.
a happy birthday.
Birthday, Clementine. When this airs, it'll be her birthday. Happy
Yeah,
birthday,
it'll be her birthday.
Clementine.
Yeah.
Janine, what are you doing?
The usual, taking the boy trick-or-treating.
There you go. Are you dressing up though? Do you have any costume for trick or treating this year? Besides
No.
exhausted parent?
Well, kind of. We're also going to a Halloween party over the weekend that's Nickelodeon themed.
Oh.
And so I'm going as Dr. Hutchinson from Rocco's Modern Life.
Oh, very nice.
So
Very
like it's
nice.
very like
Love
almost
that.
Disney boundish, but I got like the apron, the blue shirt, hook hand.
Yeah.
I already have the crazy hair. So
Did you get
Very
Dez's
nice.
costume?
yeah, he's SpongeBob.
Yeah.
Cute.
He's
I like
he's the
it.
one from the movie though that's like weirdly muscular. It's
Oh,
very
okay.
disorienting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Victoria, what are your plans?
I'm going to go support young Anthony at his DJ thing. He has to DJ a Halloween thing. I'm gonna be Shigo, so
Cool.
All
Kim Possible. So doing that, and then Halloween, I'm literally gonna put up my Christmas shit. I've been looking at my
Yes.
storage closet
Okay.
for
Okay.
like
I
a
have
week.
Yes, this gives like I have the moral backing. Like,
100%.
I can
Yeah.
drag that baby out of the storage unit.
We're gonna
I'm
all
so
do it.
ready.
Here's
November
the thing.
1st,
Here's
Christmas
here's
trees
the
are going
thing. At least for me, I used to be when I was in the Midwest, I felt like Thanksgiving was kind of the time to put up the Christmas tree. I have no seasons here in Florida. It's just a thing, and if I don't make Christmas happen, it ain't gonna happen. So,
Yeah, it's gonna be 80
100%.
degrees regardless.
Yep. So I
might as
I'm
well.
gonna push it.
I fully endorse it.
Yeah.
I'm for
Which is
it.
maybe November 1st. We'll see. I know it's kind of sacrilege, but I don't know if I'll want to put up a tree on a Monday. We'll see. But it's coming up soon. I might do it the weekend before. I don't even know. Who knows? It's very possible. Jessica, finish this up. What are you doing this Halloween?
I am taking my 2 children trick-or-treating. I do not wear costumes anymore. I was saying before off mic that after working in entertainment, I no longer wear costumes for Halloween just because it's so work associated. So
Mhm.
I leave that, but I will dress fun. I have the cake worthy Beetlejuice skirt with the suspenders, and I will wear I have so many Beetlejuice accessories. I will do it up. I will be themed out, but I will not be wearing a costume.
You'll be a spooky queen, and that's okay.
Yes.
Yes.
I love that.
That's-
I have
that's
enough
good enough.
spooky attire, as you can
Yeah.
see. Those of you listening, you can't see, but I have enough spooky attire to last pretty much
Yes.
anything I want.
Yes.
Nice.
And with that, Ratcastle is produced by me, the Count,
Oh, boy.
Nathan Hartman. And you can't see it, but I'm putting my hand up like I have a cape. Please consider subscribing so you don't miss an episode, and tell your friends, your dead friends, and you can check out our website at ratcastlepodcast.podbean.com and send us your questions at bit.ly/ratcastle. Now grab your spooky belongings and get out, exit to the left, boy!